I'm Dr. Muhammad Shobaki from Gaza, lecturer in IIUM, Ahmed Ibrahim Kuliya of Laws, teaching international law and teaching other courses from civil law and Islamic law. I studied my degree and master in Gaza, Islamic University of Gaza. By the way, unfortunately, our university and also many places were destroyed by Israeli occupation during the current war. I did my PhD here from Ahmed Ibrahim Kuliya of Laws, and I did also postdoctorate here. Then after that, start to work as assistant professor. So today, inshallah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to present my paper on the siege or blockade in Gaza. So I will share my slides first, and then inshallah I will start. I hope you can see.
Yes, we can see the slides. Yes.
Okay. So this is the topic. This is the topic: the blockade of the Gaza Strip, humanitarian impact, and international legal characterization. Inshallah, we will discuss this topic through this outlines, introduction about Gaza Strip, the legal status of Gaza Strip under international law, and the blockade of the Gaza Strip since 2007, and the current blockade, because now we have full blockade, and Israeli tightened the blockade, the siege during the current war after 7th October. We will highlight the humanitarian impact. Inshallah, the details will be in my paper. Inshallah, we will describe legally, according to international law, international criminal law, international humanitarian law, legal characterization of blockade in Gaza. First of all, introduction about Gaza. Maybe everyone now knows situation in Gaza and what is going on right now. The Gaza Strip, or simply we call it Gaza, part of the Palestinian territories, located on the eastern coast of Mediterranean Sea, bordered by Egypt on the southeast, and occupied Palestinian territories on the east and north, and from the west, as you see in the picture, located on the Mediterranean Sea. Gaza Strip is 41 kilometers long, from 6 to 12 kilometers wide, and has a total area of 365 kilometers square, with around 2.3 million Palestinians. So Gaza considers the highest population. We can call it the most crowded area in the world. And in Gaza contains 8 refugees or refugee camps. Yeah, especially.
Sorry, Muhammad, can you hear me? Your slides are not moving. Are you pressing your slides or not?
Yeah, I'm pressing, but I didn't know.
We are just watching your.
Okay, okay, I have to control it from here. Okay, good. Okay, no problem. Now it's moving, right? Okay.
Yes. Now
so
it's
this
moving.
is the first slide that I explained to you on general information about Gaza in terms of the Gaza location and Gaza distance and area according to the geography. So Gaza, just very small area, 365 kilometers. Inside Gaza, the most crowded area in the world, 2.3 million Palestinians. And if you see, when I'm talking about the blockade, it's easy from the map to see that Israeli control the sea from here. So according to international law, every country has 12 nautical miles, which is around 20 kilometers territorial water. We do not have any territorial water, by the way. Once the fishermen enter a few kilometers in Gaza, Israeli jail or shot them. And Israeli control the north side. This is the north side, and also control the west side. And from south, we have the border with Egypt, Rafah crossing. And it's known for everyone, especially during the current situation, how Egyptian authority close and wait for permission from Israeli to open Rafah crossing. So this is also part from the siege or the blockade in Gaza. About the legal status of Gaza Strip. Okay, as you know, Israel occupied Palestine since 1948. And for Gaza that time, since 1948 until 1967, was under Egyptian rule. Okay. So during the 1967 6 days war, Israeli occupied also Gaza and West Bank. So the total occupation of Gaza started 1967. During 1993, in the mid of 1990, Oslo started. Oslo Accord or agreement between Palestinian Authority and Israeli to establish Palestinian Authority in order to govern Gaza and West Bank. In fact, we didn't have full sovereignty over Gaza and West Bank because Israeli controlling West Bank since 1967 and Gaza until 2005. After 2005, Israeli unilaterally withdraw its military forces from Gaza, dismantle its settlement, but this we cannot consider this make Gaza fully free or Gaza as a sovereign place for the Palestinian Authority because Israeli still has full effective control. Despite the Israeli disengagement after 2005, United Nations, ICRC, International Committee of Red Cross, many international organizations continue to consider Gaza under Israeli military occupation. Why? Because Israeli occupation has full effective control over the territory, all import, export, in and out, everything, movement of person. Israeli control the space, control the sea, control the crossing, and everything, regulating everything in Gaza, even the taxes. So Gaza under full occupation and consider occupied area according to international humanitarian law. A blockade. So when we are talking about blockade, after we describe Gaza legally as occupied area according to international humanitarian law, Israeli imposed blockade started 2005 and make it officially after 2000, since 2007. Why 2007? Because this blockade in Gaza imposed by Israeli after Hamas party won during the election and Hamas take over the control in Gaza 2007, especially after the political division between Gaza and West Bank. So officially Israeli declared that we are putting Gaza under the blockade, under the siege. This siege led to significant humanitarian challenges, restrict the flow of essential goods, contribute to economic hardship, limit the freedom of the movement, the Palestinian population, and make Gaza like the biggest open air prison in the world. Blockade, according to international law and also political science, method of war. Okay, so include restrictions, imprisonment, prohibition, prevention carried out by state or a group of states, again a state or a group of states to achieve political, economic, social goals, also military goals like the blockade in Gaza. And this is sometimes also these restrictions with intention to surrender some population to the condition of the other country. So this is exactly happening right now in Gaza. Since 2007, Israeli imposed the siege, siege or the blockade in Gaza, and they tightened the siege started from 7th October, when Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said clearly on Monday, 9th October, that Israeli will tighten the siege, the blockade in Gaza, and he said very clearly, obviously, we are putting a complete siege on Gaza, no electricity, no food, no water, no gas, and it's all closed. Okay, so according to international law, as I did mention to you, a lot of human rights organizations and also including United Nations urged Israel to lift the blockade before the 7th October and also during this war. But Israeli urged that this blockade is necessary to protect Israeli from the Palestinian, and also they consider it as a way of self-defense. However, we cannot consider this self-defense at all because it's considered international criminal crime, as I will explain to you after a while. So now talking about the humanitarian impact. Closure for long periods, restriction for everything, for the movement of people, also to enter and for export and import for goods. Really, Israeli control the calories that the Palestinian in Gaza should eat. So just to imagine that they select the goods that they allow to Palestinians to enter to use it in Gaza, and suddenly they prevented a lot of things. So this affects all the sectors, cause as we call it, protract humanitarian, and this is like policy to deny the Palestinians from enjoying the fundamental rights and freedom, and this caused high level of poverty. When we are talking about Gaza before 2007 and after 2007, and also before 7th October, and right now, we can see a very high level of poverty. Majority, if not all, the population in Gaza under the poverty line. We are rely on the aid from humanitarian aid even before 7th October from Qatar and other countries and NGOs, Malaysian NGOs, Turkish NGOs, and other NGOs. On Norway, a lot of people waiting for the just assistance, humanitarian assistance from organizations. We have in Gaza food insecurity, very high level of unemployment, including the people who carry PhD and master certificates. You know, can you imagine we have many Palestinians got PhD and they couldn't find jobs in Gaza. Many, and some of them they have more than one PhD. So, and also construction, industrial, agriculture sector dramatically undermined, and essential services, including education, affected. The health also, we can see the situation from 2007 and right now, because of the destruction of the hospitals and the Israeli policies against the civilian objects, including the hospitals, the water in Gaza. There is one study said, this study, you know, 2015 or 16 said that more than 78 in Gaza when we were on the blockade, one from that according to the current studies, the water in Gaza not suitable for animals, not only for humans. Electricity in Gaza, we suffered even from 2007. There's no full electricity in Gaza. Maximum period 8 hours, and very good situation 8 hours, and then 12 or 16 hours blackout. And during the current war, there is no electricity at all. There is no water, and the people suffering to get water right now. They are waiting very long queue to get just few water for their families. In terms of employment, we did mention that a very high level of employment. The salaries for officers, employees in government institutions, they couldn't get full salary. They just get around 40%, 50% every 40 days. So all this very difficult situation in Gaza because of the blockade. and also part of it from Israeli occupation and part of it from political division between the Palestinian parties in Gaza and Israel. So the blockade reduced also the gross domestic product by 50% this 2015, but now it's reached to 80% during the war, zero. So many things to mention on the humanitarian impact, but we can say generally the blockade from 2007 severely affects the Palestinians, but the blockade, full blockade from 7th October until now, make the Palestinians dying slowly. So if you ask me how can we describe this blockade according to international law? First of all, blockade constitutes violation for all international human rights instruments, including Universal Declaration of the Human Rights and all the instruments, ICPS and other things, because this affects the right to life, the right to health care, dignity, and many international human rights according to international human rights law. When we are talking about blockade, it's good to refer to international humanitarian law because Israeli use it as a way of military occupation. So when we are talking about armed conflict, the law that govern the act supposed to be international humanitarian law, okay, as we call it, law of war. So according to law of war or international humanitarian law, what Israel is doing by a blockade is collective punishment. And according to Hague Convention, okay, this about the law and customs of war on land, very long time ago, 1907, stated that no general penalty and also there is no collective punishment accepted according to international customary law and also according to Hague Convention. It's very important to refer to Geneva Convention. Right now, when we are talking about international humanitarian law, the first source for us after Hague, because Hague consider the customary law, and also in addition to that consider convention. But the main convention is Geneva. In the Article 33 of 4th Geneva Convention, relative to the protection of civilians during the wartime, civilian person in the time of war, 1948 mentioned clearly that no protected person may be punished for an offense he or she has not personally committed. Collective penalties and likewise all the measures according to this article are prohibited. So also protocol, the first protocol additional to Geneva Convention, I mentioned clearly that all these acts from occupation or from any forces, including collective punishment, unacceptable and considered violation. However, according to international law, occupying power must do a lot of things to the occupied occupation. Occupied population, or the in case of Israeli occupation and Palestinian, Israeli must take care a lot of things, including medical care, the food and the supplies, and to give all the population and its occupying power what they need. So this one article, just I give you one example. If you refer to Geneva Convention, we have more than seven articles describe and explain the duties of occupying power towards the occupied population. One of these population, according to Article 55, which stated that to the fullest extent of the means available to it, the occupying power had the duty of ensuring the food and medical supplies of the population. That means always right. Instead of offering and provide the people the food and the medical supplies that they need, they're cutting everything and they're preventing everything from the Palestinians. And this is according to international law considered violation to Geneva Convention and violation to also international humanitarian law. So if we have any to Geneva Convention, grave breaches of Geneva Convention, and all these violations will consider according to Rome Statute of International Criminal Court, which is the main source of international criminal law. This we describe it as war crime. War crime. Okay, so when I'm talking about when Israel violates Geneva Convention, that means Israel committing war crimes, and we can raise this case to ICC, International Criminal Court. Okay, so all this violation against the people, even here in the Geneva Convention, subsection number 25 mentioned clearly that intentionally using, okay, here, open it, okay, here, intentionally starvation of civilians, the method of warfare by depriving them from objectives, from objects, and that will affect their life and also will affect their survival. And as mentioned here in this article subsection, this considered war crime. According to General Assembly resolution, United Nations General Assembly in 1974, the siege or the blockade for the ports or the costs or any other things consider act of aggression, which is against United Nations Charter principle. Why? Because if there is any act of aggression, United Nations General Security should take action according to Charter. It's very sad to say that stop the aggression from Israeli now. They're giving them coverage to continue with the crimes and with the violation. So, okay, so we have its collective punishment according to Geneva Convention, which is considered war crimes, and according to United Nations General Assembly resolution, it's act of aggression. What else? According to Article 7 of Rome Statute, we can consider the blockade or the siege a crime against humanity. Crime against humanity is not easy to prove like war crime. War crime prove that the crime targeting the civilian or civilian object. And of this Geneva Convention, easy to prove. Here we have to prove that this attack part of widespread or systematic directed against any civilian population. This number 2. Number 3, third element, knowledge of the attack. It's not easy to prove, but in the case of Palestine, if we do some effort, we can provide all the document to public prosecutor of
Shubake, I think
also,
your internet is not very good, so we can't really hear you very well. Can you and your time is running up. Can you
okay, can you give me 2 minutes, bro?
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, try to finish up.
Okay,
Yeah.
just give me 2 minutes. So okay, so according to international international criminal law, so this the blockade considered crimes against humanity, extermination, according to Article 7, the intention, affliction of the condition of life, inter alia, deprivation of access to food and medicine for the citizen. This considered crime against humanity. And also other inhumane act of similar character intentionally causing great suffering to the people consider crimes against humanity. So if we do some effort, we can prove that also the blockade consider crime against humanity. So Israeli doing all of this as a way or a mean for ethnic cleansing, because Israeli mentioned many times, many officials from Israeli in the media mentioned that Palestinians should go different place. There is wide area in Sinai, so they can go to Sinai. So according to international law, this is intention of ethnic cleansing, systematic force the people, removal them from their home to other area. and this fall under crime against humanity and also fall under genocide convention. What Israeli doing now, including the deliberately or intentionally inflicting the group condition of life and bring suffering for the Palestinian, physical destruction in whole or in part. This is also part of genocide, according to Article 6. So causing serious bodily and mental harm to member of group, that will consider genocide. So that means crime against humanity consider war crime. We can prove humanity and also genocide. One of the evidence that this crimes against Israeli during this war, the current war, consider genocide. The word that Israeli defense minister used it when he declared that we are putting Gaza under siege. He said because the Palestinian, we will treat them.
You need to wrap up because we can't hear from you at all. Can you please conclude, Dr. Mohammed? Oh, cannot hear at all. So can you okay, and then send a message to tell him that we lost him. Okay. Okay, we have lost him completely. So very unfortunate because I was hoping to hear some concluding remarks from him. Yeah, we have to proceed because we lost Dr. Mohammed completely. So our next item on the schedule today is a keynote address by Dr. Sharif, right? I think so. Let me double check again. Yes, Dr. Sharif Abu Shamala, who's going to give a keynote speech. Dr. Sharif is now the CEO of QFM, Al-Quds Foundation, Malaysia. Without further ado, I invite you to come over here. Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Better.
Thank you. How? I say next. No way. No pointer. Okay. Yes, I can come here. Okay. طيب. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أحييكم بتحية الإسلام. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Again, allow me to congratulate Hashim Sani Center for Palestine Studies for organizing this conference in this difficult time, especially what is Gaza is facing from the Israeli occupation and the Israeli genocide. And I believe many of the speakers and keynote speakers addressed the issue of Gaza very well. And when I read the program and the tentative, I didn't find any mention to Jerusalem or Al-Quds. So I want this session, inshallah ta'ala, to highlight the issue of Al-Quds and Bayt al-Maqdis. So I will speak about how Al-Quds and Al-Aqsa are in the clutch of Judaization. I believe that the issue of Al-Quds is not a new issue. It is since the beginning, since the Zionist project start to promote itself, and Al-Quds and Jerusalem and the Masjid al-Aqsa was in the heart of the issue of Palestine. And we believe that Zionism used Al-Quds and Al-Aqsa to pretext or to justify their occupation. They used Al-Aqsa as a religious symbol to convince the Jews to support and to join the Zionist project. And back to the history, in 1948, the Zionist groups who used to be in Palestine managed to occupy 78% of Palestine and the western part of Al-Quds, Bayt al-Maqdis, Jerusalem. And the Palestinians and the Jordanians managed to keep and to save the eastern part of Jerusalem, which contains the old city of Bayt al-Maqdis and the Masjid al-Aqsa al-Mubarak. And this continued till 1967, when Israel launched the war against the Arab countries and against the refugees in the new geography that Israel made in 1948. Means they launched the war against the Palestinians and the Arab in the West Bank, against the Arab and the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, and they extend the war against the Arab in Egypt, Sinai, and Syria. And some studies says that Israel occupied in 1967 3 times its size pre-1967. In 1967, Israel also occupied the east part of Jerusalem. So this time, Al-Masjid al-Aqsa and the old city, the historical city of Bayt al-Maqdis, became under the direct Israeli occupation. Since 1967, Israel started to implement the project of Judaization on the ground, practically. And when we say Judaization, what we mean in Judaization? We mean that all means and all ways and all policies that Israeli government and Zionistic groups implement in Bayt al-Maqdis, Jerusalem, to change the character of the city, to become or to change the character from an Islamic, an Arabic city to be a Jewish city. So they focus and target 3 elements. They target the human, they target the land, and the holy sites. Here in my presentation, I, inshallah ta'ala, going to show you some aspects of how Israel Judaized Bayt al-Maqdis and Jerusalem. You jumped. ارجع. أيوه. Just a few days after 7th of June, when Israel occupied and managed to control Jerusalem, the first thing they did was demolishing Moroccan neighborhood, a historical neighborhood beside Al-Masjid al-Aqsa al-Mubarak. It was a home for more than 600 homes, and it contained 2 schools or 6 schools, 2 mosques, many buildings for the Palestinians who came originally from Morocco during the time of Salah ad-Din. When they liberated Bayt al-Maqdis, Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi gave them this piece of land to be beside Al-Masjid al-Aqsa al-Mubarak. So it took its name like Moroccan neighborhood. The first thing that the Israeli government did when they occupied Bayt al-Maqdis, they demolished this neighborhood to establish a new geography, a new landmarks in Bayt al-Maqdis to expose what they call Wailing Wall, what we call حائط البراق wall. They documented these pictures by the Israelis themselves. They documented their crime against the historical buildings and how they demolished this to expose and to make the western wall of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak, what is known as, I said, Al-Buraq wall. This photo shows how the situation also before the Nakba, before 1948, when the Jews used to come to Al-Buraq wall and to pray by the permission from the Muslims authority, even during the Britain occupation of Palestine, the Jews used to come near the western wall of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, Al-Buraq wall, and pray and perform their ritual prayers beside Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa with full freedom. But when they occupied Jerusalem in 1967, they demolished all these buildings behind this row in the left, and this pavement or this small street became a plaza they called Wailing Wall Plaza. And now Israel every year celebrate flags march in this area and to show their sovereignty over Jerusalem and Al-Quds itself. Next. The policy of home demolition. So Israel every time create laws and policies to justify their demolition, their crimes against the Palestinian people. They want to explain to people that when we commit these crimes, when commit this Judaization, when we prevent the Palestinian people to live in comfort conditions, we do this by the laws. So they have the laws, they create the laws, then they implement their laws. The most common demolition in Jerusalem, Bayt al-Maqdis, known as administrative demolition. When the Palestinians of Bayt al-Maqdis or Jerusalem want to go and to take license for building, they put a lot of restrictions, a lot of taxes, a lot of difficult conditions against the Palestinian people. So the Palestinian people cannot wait for the day of judge to get the permission. They start to build, and after the completion of the building, then Israel come and explode these buildings. The question here, did Israel implement the same rules against the settlers? No. Did Israel implement the same policies against the Israelis who built in Bayt al-Maqdis the same? No. This is only for the Palestinian people. I want to come fast because there is a lot of slides I want to share with you. And also Israel has a very strange law which allow it to demolish the homes of the Palestinian fighters. Means if a family has a Palestinian fighter who committed or who operated against the Israelis, they kill him or they put him in a prison, then they go and demolish his brothers, his fathers, his wife, his family home. And this is very common in Palestine. Here Shahid Baha Aliyan homes. It was complicated for Israel because it was apartment with others. So what they did, they come and destroy the level where is the apartment of Baha Aliyan family live. Even they killed Baha Aliyan, but they came to his family and destroyed the apartment. So it is not strange in Palestine to find a demolished apartment among 5-story buildings. Next. And it is known in Jerusalem now there is self-demolition when the Israeli municipality forced the Palestinian people in Jerusalem to demolish their homes, because if the Palestinians refuse to demolish their homes, the bulldozers of the municipality will come and demolish, then will force you to pay a very high fee for the bulldozers and for demolishing your home. So some Palestinians start to demolish their home by their hands. And every one of us aware about what happened in 2021 for Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood, when the settler colonial system wanted to evacuate Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood from the population, and how those brave Palestinian people refused to give over their homes to the Israelis. So it is a battle between the residents of Baitul Maqdis and the Israelis, how to confront the Judaization, how to confront the Israeli machine wants to destroy the homes of the Palestinian people for one goal. That goal is how to reduce the number of the Palestinians in Jerusalem by demolishing their homes. They think the Palestinians will move to other places, will seek refuge in other European countries. Palestinians will go to the West Bank, and then they can enjoy greater Jerusalem with less Palestinians. And here it is good to mention that when Israel and the Israeli authorities demolish the Palestinian houses, they use Caterpillar and Hyundai heavy industries. So it is good to remind the people, and especially the construction companies, to boycott these companies that used as part of the Israeli campaign against the Palestinian people. One more thing that Israel do against to Judaize Baitul Maqdis, changing the historical characters of the city of Baitul Maqdis. And it is now very common, and everyone knows how Israel always change the historical buildings. They prevent the historical buildings inside Baitul Maqdis, they prevent the Palestinians to renovate their homes, to renovate the mosques, and even sometimes they change the characters. Here we find the minaret of Al-Quds Castle. Mosque means the castle in Jerusalem. Inside the castle there is a mosque. They removed the top of minaret, then it would become not a figure for the city that this is a minaret of the masjid. And one more thing, when what we call Al-Quds Castle, Qal'at Al-Quds, the Israeli called David Castle. Means, what I want to say again, changing the names of things in Bayt al-Maqdis. They want to destroy the character of the city, not only the physical character, even the names of the city, the names of streets, the names of buildings, they want to change. And now if you go to Google and go to the old city of Bayt al-Maqdis, you will not recognize this is an Islamic, historical Islamic city. It would be a Western city. You will find a Hebrew names, a European names everywhere, names driven from Torah, driven from Talmud, driven from Old Testaments. So here are some examples how they Midan Higvora. I'm Palestinians. I cannot pronounce these names. And also street, van, person, street. Even we or most of us as Palestinians cannot pronounce P. We always pronounce B. So they brought new names and wanted to change the character of the city. These just examples of what the city of Bayt al-Maqdis is facing. Some reports speak about 7,000 of names in Jerusalem were changed by the Israeli authorities in Bayt al-Maqdis. And to reduce the population in Jerusalem, Israel provided a very strange law. This law called Center of Life policy means if you are Palestinians from Jerusalem and you went to Malaysia to study medicine for 7 years, you will lose your ID as Palestinian in Jerusalem. One more thing, if you are from Jerusalem, the occupied Jerusalem, and you want to work in the West Bank, which is the East Jerusalem is part of the West Bank, and when Israel signed Oslo agreement with PLO and created PA, they recognized the east part of Jerusalem as part of West Bank. So if you are one of the East Jerusalem citizens, want to work just 5 kilometers from your home in West Bank, and you live there, they will consider Jerusalem is not your center of life. Then it will be a chance for the Israeli authorities to revoke your ID. And also Israel have punitive revocation of IDs of the Palestinian IDs. Means if a child throw stones against the Israeli soldiers, the Israeli occupation soldiers, this will be good opportunity for the Israelis to revoke their IDs. And when they revoke the ID of the father, so the whole of the family will face a complicated situation, then they will leave Jerusalem. So, as I said, the best for Israel, the minimum of the Palestinian people in Jerusalem, because they believe that Jerusalem is the heart of the Palestinian issue. And Jerusalem is most important symbol for the Muslim and Arab and free world and even Christians to support Palestine, because they have connections, the religious connections with Jerusalem and Al-Masjid al-Aqsa and all the churches in Jerusalem. Next, please. One of things that Israel is doing to target the population also targeting the educational system means they, when I go and tell people about Judaization, they sometimes understand that Israel wants to change the religion of the Palestinians from Islam to Judaism. No, Israel won't. But Israel wants to change the mindset of the Palestinians who live in Jerusalem. Israel consider them, if they learn about their rights, if they learn about their flag, about national anthem, this will be dangerous, and this will make them enemies for the Israeli authorities. Here, just some of the curriculums that the Palestinians use in Jerusalem and how the Israeli authorities, who control all aspects of the Palestinians' life in Bayt al-Maqdis, Jerusalem, how they remove a very important things from the curriculum. Here in the left, you find the national anthem and the Palestinian flag. When Israel reprint or force the Palestinian schools to reprint the books, they must remove these symbols, this information, and even some verses of Quran, as you see in the right example, they remove from the curriculum just to change the mindset of the Palestinian people who live in Jerusalem. This, the previous things we spoke about how Israel is targeting the land, how Israel is targeting the population in Jerusalem. The third target of Israel is the holy sites. The holy sites, when we speak about the holy sites, we don't mean the Muslim holy sites only. No, the Muslim and the Christians holy sites inside Jerusalem and in Jerusalem are being targeted by the Israeli occupation. Everyone knows how is Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa is important for 2 billion of the Muslims all over the world. And despite this, Israel attacking Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak day and night. And as I said, the Judaization campaign started early after the 1967 war. And also targeting Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak started directly after the occupation, when the Israeli police confiscated the keys of Bab al-Maghariba, Moroccan Gate, till now, since 1967, June 1967, till now, and Israel is controlling the Moroccan Gate and prevent any Palestinians, any Muslim, to enter Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak from Moroccan Gate. This photo back to 2017, and we can see the U.S. ambassador to Israel receiving a gift, a photo from the settlers or settlements leadership. This photo, an aerial photo of Jerusalem and the Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak. But if you focus on the photo, you will find it edited by Photoshop, and they removed the Dome of the Rock from the photo and put a temple, a Jewish temple, instead of the Dome of the Rock. And all are laughing, and all all are satisfied and happy for this. So this indicates how the situation is dangerous, how America is supporting the Israeli aggression against Al-Masjid al-Aqsa and the holy sites in Palestine in general. Next, please. This part of the Israeli propaganda and how they educate their children beside the Masjid al-Aqsa, that one day we will demolish the Masjid al-Aqsa and erect a temple instead of this. And some people may say this is an extreme group, does not reflect the Israeli government. No, all these groups, all these extreme groups are supported by the government. And now there is a new development in Israel that those groups became the most important part of the Israeli government. Ben Gvir, Smotrich, and others, those used to be to be dealt as criminals in Israel and used to be imprisoned in Israel. Now they are the rulers of Israel, and they determine what to be attacked and what the Israeli decision against the Palestinian people. And if we look to the results of the Israeli elections 20 years ago, no seats. They didn't manage to get any seat in the Israeli Knesset or parliament. And now they have many seats, and they became part of the ruling coalition of Netanyahu. And anyone of the Israeli extremists want to withdraw from the government, the second day the Israeli government will collapse. So it is a systematic aggression, systematic targeting of Al-Masjid al-Aqsa al-Mubarak. Next, please. What this? Next. Oh. Yeah. What file? No. No, not videos. Good. And also, in the campaign, in the Israeli campaign to target the holy sites, they target Al-Masjid al-Aqsa not by controlling the Moroccan gate. No. Even some rooms inside Al-Masjid al-Aqsa now controlled by the Israeli occupation. For example, inside Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, there is an Israeli police station. 2 rooms, historical rooms, inside the Masjid al-Aqsa, on the platform of the Dome of the Rock. There is many rooms, 2 rooms that Israel confiscated and make as police station. Do you imagine this? I don't imagine this in anywhere. But Israel did inside the Masjid al-Aqsa till now. If you go to Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, inside the Masjid al-Aqsa, there is a police station with guns, with the occupiers inside the Masjid al-Aqsa al-Mubarak. We called in Arabic al-Qubba al-Jumbulatiya, or Jumbulatiya room, or Jumbulati dome in English, and the Gate of Morocco. One more thing, before in 2003, Israel prevent the Muslims inside the Masjid al-Aqsa to use a Rahma Gate building. A Rahma Gate building, it is sealed from out, so it became like a big room or musalla. And since 2003, Israel prevent the Islamic Waqf and the Islamic administration of Masjid al-Aqsa to use this room. Until 2019, it was blocked to in 2019, a group of the Palestinian people, a brave Palestinian people, they broke the locks of Al-Rahma Gate, and they managed to open Al-Rahma Gate, and they converted as Musalla. So the people always will go and pray inside Al-Rahma Gate. We speak about the Masjid Al-Aqsa itself, not Jerusalem. How the Masjid Al-Aqsa itself has many musalla. Inside the Masjid Al-Aqsa, there are many musalla, many prayer rooms, not necessarily the main praying room in Al-Aqsa itself. So Israeli used to control this gate. When we speak, when we say gate, it does not mean door. Gate means building. So Israel used to prevent the Palestinians worshippers to pray in this gate, and they used to use the top of this gate as a monitoring point for the Israeli soldiers. And during Tufan al-Aqsa, the Al-Aqsa flood, the last Israeli aggression against the Palestinians in Gaza, Israel every time go to this place and demolish what the Palestinian put to prevent them to restore their right in praying in this room. Also, one of the means that Israel is using against Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa is excavations and tunnels under Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. In the report of 2016 by IIQ, International Institute of Al-Quds, the number of tunnels were 63 tunnels under Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and surrounding Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak. Why Israel digging the tunnels under Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa? They say, we are searching for Solomon Temple. Okay, you spent more than 56 years searching Solomon Temple and you didn't find. When you will find Solomon Temple, I will tell you. When they manage to destroy Masjid Al-Aqsa, they will say, whoa, we didn't find Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. The same what they did doing in Al-Shifa in Gaza. If day and night they said, we are looking for Hamas command room under Al-Masjid, under Shifa Hospital, right? Since more than 15 years, and they sing this song, right? And in 2023, they came to a Shifa Hospital. They destroy a Shifa Hospital. Even MRI appliances and for children, premature children, they destroyed. And you are searching for tunnels, not to destroy. And this is the same. They always say, we are searching for Solomon Temple, but the real goal is to weaken the foundations of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak. How many minutes? 1, 5, 3. Okay, next. If you look to the map of the tunnels under Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak, you can find how the situation is dangerous in such historical city to dig all these excavations under the city. And because this is my study, the problem when Israel search for their goals, they destroy all before them, all layers, all levels of archaeology before what they are seeking. Means the Palestinian history is layers. We have very old layers, and we have Byzantine, we have Islamic, we have Ottoman, we have before Ottoman, we have before Ottoman also, we have the Crusaders. They destroy all these things in the pretext that we are searching for the Jewish history under or beneath Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. Next. One of the dangerous things that Israel also do is preventing the renovation of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak. Now there are more than 40 projects for the renovation of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak, and Israel prevent the Muslim authorities to do renovation, and all this lead to weaken Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And here a video, the video is not working. Try to work the video. Doesn't work. Okay. If we see to the right image, this is some parts of the Al-Buraq wall, some stones from Al-Buraq wall dropped because Israeli prevent the Muslims to practice their right to renovate the wall. Next, please. One of things that Israeli implement is incursions inside the Masjid Al-Aqsa. I used to say storming the Masjid Al-Aqsa and breaking into Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak. Even it is in the Israeli religion prohibited to go to Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak until you free from the Muslims. Now they changed the fatwa, but they continue to keep this signboard that it is prohibited, but they practice storming al-Masjid al-Aqsa al-Mubarak. These are three signs from three different eras. Till now, they keep the rabbis force the Israelis authorities to fix this fatwa, this sign, but they practice against the sign. They allow the extremists to break into Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak. Next, please. In their tour or in their storming Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, they start from Moroccan gate, that the gate no one of the Muslims can use, and they make a circle surrounding the Dome of the Rock, then go back from a Silsila gate. Next, please. And here a very simple temple, a very simple table shows how the number of the extremists who break into Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa increasing year by year. 2005, it is just 1,200. In 2022, it is 48,000 of settlers and extremists who broke into Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak. And they still siege Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak by building temples inside the old city of Jerusalem, just to dominate the skyline of the city. Next, please. They also issued a law in 2015 to criminalize the tahfidh al-Quran inside the Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak and to prevent the murabitin from their right to be inside the Masjid Al-Aqsa. And it is very known that how Israel prevent the Palestinian worshippers to go to Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. So it is known and common for the Palestinian people to pray in the streets in their way to Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. This is the last. Khalas. Okay, what I presented is just a few means and few aspects of the suffering of Jerusalem and Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak. And if we want to speak more, we find a lot of things to speak and a lot of evidences that Israel is practicing racism laws racist laws, apartheid against the Palestinians, settler colonialism system. All these atrocities and all these policies are implemented by the Israeli occupation. So, in my opinion, it is important not to speak about the only thing we should think about is how to end the Israeli occupation. How to end the Israeli occupation, not how to coexist with the Israeli occupation. It is important to keep in mind the only solution for the Palestinian people and for the Palestinian suffering is to end the occupation. Thank you very much and Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Prof. It's not gift.
Thank you very much, brother. Yeah, obviously, this is a very interesting and fascinating presentation, but unfortunately, we don't have enough time to listen to. Dr. Sharif actually prepared 20 more slides, actually, beyond this. But we also organize short courses, which are run by Dr. Sharif himself, free of charge, online. We finished that a few months ago, and we hope to have another one online. And I hope that will generate interest among the audience and to publicize that we do run courses on this, and we can learn more from these courses which are conducted by Dr. Sharif himself, to understand all this issue of Jerusalem, Masjid Al-Aqsa, etc., Judaization process. Dr. Sharif go very deep back to history and all the details of this process of Judaization. And inshallah, we can learn more from that. And hopefully more will register for this course when we advertise it soon, inshallah. And alhamdulillah, Dr. Sharif conduct this for free also. And we also conduct it for free. Okay, so our next presenter is actually the Professor Afandi, right? Professor Afandi is a professor of international relations from the University Sultan Zainal Abidin in Terengganu. You want to use yours or what? It's already there. Okay. So without further ado, let me invite him to proceed with the presentation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'in. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And almost good afternoon. I'm going to present something on American conservative Christians and U.S.-Israel special relationships, a case study of Christians United for Israel, or CUFI. I think so Professor Stephen Sizer is very interested to know about this, and this is about very much related to Christian Zionism. Can I use it? Oh, okay. All right. Use the mouse. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. Well, for the international relations students, normally this is commonly known by all the students or professors that U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East and specifically to the Israel mostly established because of three factors: geopolitical strategic, political commitments in defending Israel, and U.S. economic interest in the Middle East. And this is very unique, and for that reason, they call it the U.S.-Israel special relationship. And this term was started by President John F. Kennedy in 1962, actually. And then since that, U.S.-Israel relations, how to say this, is something that blank check, unconditional, this support in every kind of, supports financially, morally, politically, and then those who study this from the realism perspective, they can see this is very realistic for the U.S. government to preserve their power in the Middle East. And then, as I mentioned, this is for geopolitical, for political commitments, for economic interests. But there is another perspective that the academicians or analysts try to give another perspective about the U.S. Israel special relationships based on the soft power. This, for example, John Mashmere, they publish a book on this the Jewish lobbies. So these soft power factors is a new phenomenon that try to elaborate more about the U.S. Israel relations in this day, and then it's also focused more on the Americans grassroots, specifically on the American evangelicals. This is my topic I want to discuss, how these American evangelicals give a new perspective on U.S.-Israel relations. This is the question is, how about the role and influence of religious organizations or movement in the U.S. and how they have attempted to exert influence on the U.S. foreign policy toward Israel. And conservative Christian movement has the major lobbying groups, and how this movement influenced the U.S. foreign policy process. Theology has a factor. They say Israel is related to God's plan and is part of imminent prophecy of the second coming of Jesus. This is a part of Christian Zionism theology. It's about the God's plan based on the Scofield Bible. Professor Sizer Stephen is very much is expert on this, and it's about the second coming of Jesus. It's based on eschatology theology. So there is a similarity, the similarities between conservative Christians or conservative American Christians and Christian Zionism in presenting their concrete interests in supporting the establishment and survival of the state of Israel theologically, morally, politically, and financially. This is a study by Pear's research in 2018, and this is the statement, why not all evangelical Christian or conservative Christians in America subscribe to Christian Zionism. Most of them do. The Pew Research Center estimate that about 25.4% of Americans identify with evangelical Protestantism. Equally, about 62.2 million evangelical Christians in America. About 80% of that 62.2 million have expressed support for the modern state of Israel, and they believe that the rebirth of Israel was a fulfillment of Bible prophecy, showing that we are nearing the return of Jesus Christ. This is their statement. Finally, when polled about their primary reasons for supporting the modern state of Israel, 59% of respondents of evangelical Christians attributed their primary reasons to the Bible. So this is the link between evangelical Christians with the Christian Zionism. Though the research show there's not everybody in evangelical Christians are Christian Zionism. This is this group of this movement organization support Israel. For example, love is not what you say, love is what you do. Say the Pastor John Hagee of Christian United for Israel, whose organization has sent $1 million US to Israel since the terrorist attack on October 7th. I quote from the Jewish news syndicate. Yeah, he pledged that Jewish Federation will support Israel financially and will back Israel in this week and months ahead. Other Jewish and non-Jewish groups has been raising and starting to distribute money and other sort of donations. Federation announced a history 500 million campaign to support the Jewish state and her people in partnership with the Union of Reform Judaism, United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism, Hillel International, the JCC Association of North America, and National Council of Jewish Women. On October 17, after the current Gaza war, federations announced that it had already raised 388 million. It also allocated 10 million and to 20 organizations that provide emergency relief and support in Israel. This is from Jewish News Syndicate, 16 October 2023. So this is how this evangelical, the American Christians support Israel financially, and then they do is in very fast way after the attack the attack of Hamas in 7th October. And the issue now is the conservative Christian movement have shifted. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to discuss about the Christian theology, the American evangelical Christians that have the similarity with Christian Zionism, the end time theology, the fulfillment of the Bible, the coming of the second coming of Jesus. Let Professor Stephen elaborate on this about the Christian Zionism. I think yesterday you already discussed about this kind of biblical prophecy. The current situation now is how the conservative Christians, that before their support mostly based on the theology perspective. As Professor Stevens, I think they elaborate very outstanding about this, the prophecy of based on the Scofield Bible, the second coming of Jesus, the eschatology theology. But now the conservative Christian movement have shifted their motive for supporting Israel from theological belief to America's national interest justifications. From the theology based on from theology from the realism perspective. This is the current scenario in American evangelical now. It's no longer confined with the theology discourse only. They're talking about the American security. They're talking about the strategic interest. They're talking about geopolitical perspective in Middle East. And then what's the response from the Israeli government? This is one of the example. The former Israeli ambassador to the United States, Ron Dermer, recently urged Israel to prioritize maintaining the support of American evangelical Christians over that of American Jews. Just now, I just discussed with Professor Stephen. He said that the Jews who support Israeli in America is just it's just like this, and the Christian who support Israeli is bigger than is like this. Is bigger than the Jews in America. Is it right, Professor Stephen? Yeah. Yeah. It's 10 times. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So it shows how important the Christian evangelical in America, they gave all the kind of support morally, politically, and financially to the Israeli state and Israeli government, and also the Jews diaspora to go back to Israel. And he said that people have to understand that the backbones of Israel's support in the United States is the evangelical Christian. It's quite recent, 2020 statement from the former Israeli ambassador. And I just show you one of the, issues between Israel and then evangelist leader, the late Pat Robinson. Yeah, the title of the news is Israel frees ties with U.S. evangelists. This is January 2006. Israel has suspended contact with evangelist Pat Robinson for suggesting a restaurant's stroke was divine punishment for withdrawing from the Gaza Strip, according to an Israeli minister. In 2005, Israel withdrew their this settler and also army from Gaza Strip, and this is the response from Pat Robinson about this withdrawal. For him, the Palestine land is belong to the Jews. It's based on the prophecy. It's based on the Bible that they understand or they refer to. And then how important is evangelical to Israel, and also important to this Prince of Saudi. Saudi Arabia hosts U.S. evangelical Christians, Israel supporters, November 2018. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman holds 2-hour talks with American Christians and Israeli supporters at the palace. So it shows how important is evangelical Christians who support Israel to Salman. And I read the news. They say that because of to propagate the religious tolerance between Christians and Islam, and also Judaism. And I would like to give or to discuss one case study of the evangelical movement or evangelical Christians. This is Christian United for Israel, one of the largest Christian Zionists and Christian evangelical in America. In their website, they said they have around 10 million. But Professor Stephens told me it's around 30 million supporters around that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge number. 50 million. Right. So yes. So it's a huge number. It's a huge number, and then it's strong supporters actually. And if you Google, you type in the Google Christian or Kufi, Christian United for Israel. This is their title: the Christian United for Israel, the fight against anti-Semitism. And they say they have 10 million members to defend Israel land, fight against anti-Semitism in our communities, churches, college campuses, and the media and Capitol Hill. This is their objective. They claim that they are largest pro-Israel grassroots organization in the United States, and they say we transform millions of pro-Israel Christians into an educated, empowered, and effective force. We strive to has defensive shield against anti-Israelites, boycotts, false theology, and political threats that seeks to delegitimize Israel's existence and weaken the close relationship between Israel and the United States. So this is how why I say the shift from theology to be more political. If you're talking about American nationalism and also American security or strategic interests. And their leader, John Hagee, he said that supporting Israel is not a political issue, it's a Bible issue. Still, the dominant or the foundations of their support is based on the Bible. He says it's a Bible issue. And October 7, after the Hamas attack, he said, after the October 7 massacre, we must or make choice either to choose life or to choose death. We choose peace or terror. We choose Israel or Hamas. There is no middle ground. Either you are either with the Jewish people or you are not. It's like Bush doctrine, you know, there's no in the middle with the black and white. Yeah. All right. I go to policy agenda of this Christians United for Israel. Their first policy agenda is to defend America, stand with Israel. And they say, as Christian United for Israel, we are committed to Israel's strength and security and sovereignty. To this end, we stand with the decisions of the democratically elected government of Israel, and we work to support the U.S.-Israel relationship and safeguard the Jewish state's right to defend itself. This is the guiding policy agenda of Kufi. And how they implement this agenda? First, support for strong U.S.-Israel relationship. They say the founded upon the two nations' shared values. The alliance between U.S. and Israel is the vital national security interest of both countries. You see, they're no longer mentioning about theology. They're talking about national interest. They're talking about security interest. Israel is the West's sole outpost of freedom and democracy in the Middle East. Therefore, Kufi supports American aid to Israel and maintain of the Jewish state qualitative military aid in the region. Second, opposition to the international pressure on Israel. They say, like any other sovereign democratic nation, Israel has the right to defend itself from terrorism and other violent threats. In addition, the Israeli military has time and again shown itself to take great risks to minimize civilian casualties, whereas Israeli enemies use civilians as human shields. Kufi opposed international condemnation of Israel legitimate acts of self-defense and international pressure on Israel to make concessions to adversaries that the Jewish state does not wish to make. They're also talking about countering Israel malevolence. Iran malevolence. Iran is the world leading state sponsor of terror and the preeminent force for evil in the Middle East. Tehran remains committed to developing a nuclear weapons capability and supporting terrorists around the globe, including the terrorist army Hezbollah. Kufi is committed to countering Iran's malevolence through sanctions of the Islamic Republic and effort to disrupt military and financial support of Hezbollah. Now they are joined together with American government in terms of condemning or sanctions Iran because of the it posed threat to Israel. Opposition to anti-Semitism. To achieve this goal, Kufi supports adoptions of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definitions of anti-Semitism, including its associated examples. When leaders seek guidance of understanding the world order's hearts, the IHRA definitions application was made policy under President Donald Trump and has been endorsed by the President Biden. The bipartisan consensus is that the IHRA definition is an appropriate way to define anti-Semitism. Having worked to see the definition adopted by the federal level, Kufi is presently seeking to see the definition acknowledged in the state capitals across the country. Yeah, they're talking about the anti-Semitism and propagate this issue within the American state level. It's under another act that they do now is countering Palestinian terrorism and intransigence. Despite repeated Israeli efforts to make peace with Palestinians, their leaders have remained committed to the destructions, Hamas, the tyrannical organizations that is the de facto rulers of the Gaza Strip, is at the core committed to the annihilations of the Jewish state. Yeah, the Palestinian Authority remains unwilling to abandon the incitement of the violence against the Jewish state and its pay to slay. So it is against Hamas, it also against the Palestinian Authority actually. At this stage, Ikuti does not believe the Palestinian Authority is the true partner for peace and oppose the US taxpayers' aid to the PA until it changes its behavior. And last but not least, opposition to the BDS movement. Yeah, Professor Nazari. This Ikuti put the opposition of to the BDS movement one of their core actions. Yeah, the BDS movement goals is to destroy Israel through economic warfare. The BDS movement is inherently anti-Semitic, as it targets the war-only Jewish state with lies and demonizations and aims to deny the Jewish people their God-given right to self-determinations. Ikuti support legislation aimed at assuring U.S. taxpayer dollars do not end up in the hands of anti-Semites who support this movement. And with Ikuti support, 34 states have advanced such anti-BDS measure dealing in significant blow to the anti-Israel movement. Ikuti was also integrally involved in reserving Airbnb's decision to boycott Israeli homes in Judea and Samaria, and continues their efforts to address any acts of the economic anti-Semitism. So this is how they also involve, strongly oppose the BDS movement in America. So my conclusion is theologically, the conservative Christians or the evangelical Christians, the state of Israel is a matter of religious convictions that is related to God's plan and is also part of the imminent prophecy of the second coming of Jesus. As I mentioned earlier, is about the biblical prophecy is about the eschatology theology. However, the current scenario, the conservative Christians in America has recently shifted its motive for supporting Israel from theological belief to American nationalism and American strategic national interest justifications. Yeah, that's all my presentations. So probably if there is any questions from the floor, thank you.
Identify yourself.
Hello, my name is AWANI. I'm a research fellow here in IIS Malaysia. So thank you very much, Doctor, for your presentation. I think it's well documented that Christian evangelist has been one of the primary supporters of Israel since its establishment in the 1948. And so to this date, it has been shaping the pro-Israel lobbies and also pro-Israel foreign policies at the moment. But in the last few years, there has been growing support among Americans for Palestine, and according to many statistics and polls, that it has reached like a 20-year high in terms of American support for Palestine. Although they are still in the minority, because the majority of Americans still support Israel. And this is especially true among the young, among below 30, the support for Palestine. Do you think there is a growing trend of reduced support among these evangelist Christians or Christian Zionists for Israel, especially with the emergence of many prominent Christian scholars bringing a different narrative based on Christian traditions, such as Gary Ambridge, who wrote the book Whose Land, Whose Promise, and also maybe Dr. Stephen as well, who's a prominent Christian community leader, bringing an alternative narrative rooted in Christian tradition as well. So is there like, do you see any growing trends of reduced support among these groups for Israel's current brand of Zionism?
I try to to differentiate between American evangelicals and Christian Zionism. Yeah, from the for the young American evangelical, there is the trend that they support Palestinians, cause of the Palestinian issues about the human rights there. But I'm not sure that there's a trend there. Even if you read the last 2 years, the young American evangelical groups or peoples, they shifted from purely support Israel to be more, more sympathy to Palestinians. Yeah, but I'm not sure whether they agree or not, about the Palestinian land, whether to divide between Palestinians and Israelis or to the Jews, because we have to to differentiate between the belief and also the humanity, the human rights issue. Yeah. And about the Christian Zionism, the Christian support to Israel, I think is growing. And I just discussed with Professor Stephen. Correct me, Professor Stephen. The growing numbers of Christian Zionism all over the world now is a phenomenon. I'm not sure, but we're talking about the issue of supporting Palestinians is not, or Palestine is not the matters of the Christians only. It's the issue of humanity now. So probably the number is millions, but those who support the trend, the trends groups of human rights or people all over the world, the younger who support the Palestinian issues is getting bigger and bigger now because of the media or the social media. Yeah. So probably Professor Stephen can add more about it. Yeah.
So those who influence US society, politicians, are generation and money, their time, and they coordinate it. So it's not just Ikuti. Ikuti is very one Bridge for Peace, International Christian Embassy, Christian Prince of Israel. There are numerous Christian Zionist organizations, over 200 Christian Zionist organizations in the US selects. Very influential, particularly with US politicians. And as you said, they have a political agenda that matches their theology. Because they believe the Jews are God's chosen people, they support Israel in Congress, in Washington, through lobbying MPs, politicians. Because they believe God gave the land to the Jewish people, they support earlier. They fund the return of Jews from Russia, Eastern Europe to Palestine. Because they believe the settlements are necessary to conquer the land, they're funding the settlement. Because they believe the temple's going to be rebuilt, they're funding extremist Jewish groups that are going to rebuild this, destroy the dome. Because they believe there's going to be an apocalyptic war, they actively oppose the peace process, which requires Israel to withdraw from the land that they believe God gave. So it's a theology that has legs. It has consequences politically. It's very dangerous, confrontational, apocalyptic.
Yeah, but the quick comment. The question was, which one is growing? Which? No. Sorry. The trend. One is, the trend to support Palestine is growing also. The trend for Christian Zionism is growing also. Which one is growing faster? Which one? Which one? Which one is going faster? No, 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 sorry. Between, yeah, in America, you have a trend to support Palestine. One trend. The other trend is the yeah. Which one is the faster trend? Yeah,
Influence.
but
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. We're
Okay.
talking about the lobbyist group, the evangelicals during the George W. Bush. They already play a greater role in the Capitol Hill. Yeah, yeah,
So basket, the UN basket, the UN is going down in terms of influence in the world. China is rising, global south is rising, and so there is an active game here to promote Zionism in Africa. Say to the Africans, you were liberated out of slavery, so were we.
yeah.
You know, build bridges, when actually it's the opposite. They're perpetuating another form of apartheid. Same in China, the Back to Jerusalem campaign is to encourage Chinese Christians to identify with.
Okay, so yeah, so we have to maybe discuss later on. Later on, it's not only fighting against American policy, but against African policy to support Israel. But that is another seminar. Inshallah, don't worry, Allah is with us. Okay, thank you very much, Professor
Thank you.
Afandi. We can have more discussion during lunch after this on this interesting topic. But we have to listen to our last presenter for this morning before lunch. Dr. Faraj Hainaini is going to present about the apartheid, the gravities on the apartheid wall. So a lot of photos and images, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah Muhammad ibn Abdullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. I'm Dr. Hainaini. I would thank and appreciate the chairman, Prof. Nazari, the chairman of Hani Hashim Sani Center, and Bon Siri, Dr. Norma Hashim, and our brothers and sisters. Today, I'm going to talk about my paper under the names Breaking Barriers, the symbolic and political significance of artworks on the apartheid wall in Palestine. Okay, this is the first slide. When we look to have two sections, the first section, the Palestinian map, before the occupied land, the Palestinian land, and the last one in 1960-70 after the occupied. The Palestinian became three areas. The first one, Gaza Strip, the second one, 48 area, the third one, the West Bank. And we look to the first one, the Zionist Israeli occupation that built the apartheid wall on the Palestinian land. The idea, when we talk about the idea, when they established the separation wall, came in 1992 from the Itzhak Rabin. He is the fifth prime minister in Israel occupation, and what time the plan materialized in 22 with the prime minister Ehud Barak. The second section, when we look to the second section, talk about the separation apartheid wall. We have many sections from the concrete slabs, the watch tower, and many ways from the two direction. Here, when we look to these photos and artworks on the separation wall, has turned into a huge screen for the Palestinian and foreign artists to display various kinds of art works, including painting, pictures, drawing, video. Okay, when we talk now about a huge screen for the Palestinian and foreign artists, some people look to these artworks as a means of resistance against the occupation. Another people look to the artworks as the means of beautifying the wall, make decoration in the wall. The visual arts have become a controversial issue among the Palestinian. I am try in this paper, I will study how the role of artworks on the separation wall in the occupied Palestinian land acts as a forum of resistance. Furthermore, this paper offers insights into the transformative power of arts, the context of conflicts and origin. Here, in this slide, I want to talk the separation wall in Palestinian often referred to as the apartheid wall by and critics has become a canvas for powerful and impactful artworks that convey deep symbolic and political message. Significance of this paper, I consider this paper a starting point that's link my national affiliation to my Palestinian cause and my academic paper of art. For me, this paper serves as the foundation upon which I took a stand to understand the nature of artworks on the separation wall in its relation to advocating the Palestinian cause by examining how the supportive or unsupportive it is to this resistance. Therefore, based on this foundation, I move forward to a more comprehensive understanding of the Palestinian scenario in its relation with the general visual arts. Here I put many questions to ask about these artworks on the separation wall. How can the artworks on the separation wall in the occupied Palestine territory be considered works of resistance? The second question, what are the differences in the functional role that artworks play toward the separation wall? The third one, how are the appreciations made by people viewing and reading the artworks on the separation wall? This paper is based on cultural resistance theory. I use some authors into Gramsci, Stephen Dunkab, Edward Said. Here I'm okay, inshallah, now I want to talk about this artwork have two types. The first type, Palestinian, this paper talk about the Palestinian symbols that were represented on the separation wall by Palestinian and foreign artists. The foreign symbols that were represented on the separation wall by foreign artists. This is the first type. When you look to this, the artworks, the photos here, back to the Palestinian symbols. Here, the Palestinian artists and foreign artists use the Palestinian symbols on the separation wall. When we look to here in this slide, these artists came from USA, before came to Palestinian. He read about the history, the Palestinian, and he came and he know what he need to paint in on the separation wall, and he choose exactly how can make the meaning and support the Palestinian in the in by the painting on the wall. Here, when you look to the meaning about the key, and I choose the locations and the directions, and when the artist painting the artworks in the area have the people from the Palestinian and from the Zionist occupation. I'm talking about the material, who is the artist, where is the location, and what's the meaning of this artworks. When you look to this slide, the key is a symbol that expresses the return to home and the Palestinian right, a return to their homeland. Keeping this key is reserving the right to return home and not to relinquish it, and that such right does not expire as time glibes, and retain cultural. The source is a political act. Here, I believe the Palestinian symbol, where I'm talk about when use the Palestinian symbol and the foreign symbols. We needed to know the foreign artist when came to enter to Palestine and come to painting on the separation wall have agenda. Some, not all, maybe some invited by the Israeli NGO, by the organizers from the Israeli. He gave them deadline, and roof cannot go up to this roof line. We will try how can we do give this. Talk about why what have controversial issue among the Palestinians. Some Palestinian rejected all the artworks on the separation wall, and some he talk about these artworks support and resistance against the occupation in the Palestinian land. We here try how can we analyze this artwork, who is and separate. We need it, who is come to support the Palestinian cause. We need it by any way. These the artworks, same the political, same the economic, same the military power. We needed to try by any way. No need to give the art, all the artwork, some the judgment. We needed to explain to the Palestinian people and who is supporter the Palestinian people, because the studies talk about this issue little bit in the world, and who is a friend the Israeli when talk about the artworks. He give little bit about the suffering. He talk about the technique. He talk about the different meaning. The Palestinian now, the separation wall, the Palestinian have pain and suffering from this the wall on the Palestinian land. I'm sure this the Palestinian symbol, we are able to activate sympathy, stimulate intellectual domains, to aggregate tension for refusing and demolishing the wall. The symbols help viewers establish awareness, especially the new generation, help them develop the cultural of reading, which in turn helps in the generating new ideas. We will try by these the Palestinian symbol. When you look to the Palestinian symbol, remember how the Palestinian exist from the Palestinian in Nakba in 1948. Remember when all the Palestinian artists in Palestine, when you look to the Palestinian symbol, used all have same the technique, use the handala caricature, use the kufiya, use the dome, the rock masjid, mosque, used many tools, these sign and logo. When you see these the artworks, you remember the Palestinian, you remember the Palestinian cause. Now this international symbol, the second type in this my baby, when you look to these artworks, these not any different with the Palestinian suffering, without the talk about the Palestinian land, without talk the Palestinian pain. We will try, inshallah, to hear when this Banksy, he came from the British, the UK, and came to Palestine, and the Zionist occupation allowed to him to enter to Palestine and take big space on the separation wall and open the hotel, and he selling the smallest. When he painted on the wall, he make copy based in the smallest murals, and he is selling outside. And when the tourists visit the Palestine, visit the hotels, he make business about that. When look to the all the artworks, just the below limit. When you look to the art works painted from the Baniski, you cannot feeling about the suffering, you cannot feeling about the Palestinian, you cannot feeling. Just he came to Palestine to take show, and he to go to the big area about the physical, the separation wall, and the new area to talk about the names, him names. Hey, when you look, oh, okay.
Did he mention in the copy that this is the original was on separation wall or not?
Yeah, on the separation wall. Okay, inshallah, when you look to the history, the Banksy artist in the European countries, he used the hyperactive more than in Palestine. He used the figures, strong figures, opposite the government in European countries. But in the Palestine, he used the, I will talk the reaction about the Palestinian and the Israeli about this. When painted this wall and the Palestinian receiver, so these artworks and this painted remove on the separation wall, because he had feeling bad feeling why this came from the UK and talk about me, same the animals, this part. And he said about the Palestinian and the Zionists same. He gave the same situation. Not he came to make sure in outside that's okay. When I need to move the suffering from the Palestine to outside and mention about that, that's important to Palestine. But we needed to know these artworks support or no. Here, the reaction of people toward artworks on the separation wall. We talk about here, I have many columns from the speaker from the Palestinian. When talk about these artworks, some people talk armchairs, no anybody to talk about the Palestinian, and the view not from the Palestinian authority. This is from the European. Why the Banksy he came to, and after that, when you look to the action from the Palestinian artist or the Palestinian people, remove and delete this view, because this view we are under the occupation. We are a big story under the occupation 75 years in the pain. Why he came to just to painted some figures from the outside the Palestine and talk about that. طب ارجع هنا. Here the reaction from the Israeli occupation. Some, when you look to these figures and these artworks on the separation wall, after the arts, he finished the painting these figures on the wall, the soldiers comes and delete and remove these pictures. Why? This make high power to make, when anyone look to this, make high reaction and to make a strong feeling to how can fight the Zionists, how can make resistance against the occupation. The conclusion, my conclusion, I have my paper, same the academic model. I have 3 questions in my article. When you look to here, can the artworks on the separation wall in the occupied Palestine territory be considered work of resistance? I have many questions for that. These artworks came in different shapes and conveyed various meaning: political, artistic, and peaceful, and peace. Some reflect the suffering caused by the separation wall and peer meaning that support the cultural of resistance, and a call to review the wall while reminding the Palestinian of their right. And however, some of these works call it for love, coexistence, and harmony between the Palestinian and occupied. The second question, when I talk, are there the difference in the functional role the artworks play toward in the separation wall? Artworks drawn on the separation wall played a political role, as this study shows that art and politics in the history of Palestinian are intrinsically linked. The first role acts as a driving force for the struggle against the occupation. The second role of the purpose of promoting peace and coexistence. The third one, how are the appreciation resulting from the viewing and reading the artworks related to the separation wall formed? Artworks have been evaluated as works that call for resistance due to the violent reaction of the occupation state, which a selective when it comes of acceptance and refusal. A state of acceptance results in allowing the artwork, and the state of refusal results and objection and removal of the artwork. Thus, in Israeli occupation has two attendants, whether to allow the artist to paint and draw on the wall, or prevent or arrest him and prevent him from drawing. On the other hand, Palestinian receivers removed artworks that do not include elements the call for resistance, the wall, and left those artworks that support the cultural of resistance. The recommendations, I recommend comprehending and highlighting the meaning for projects related to the separation wall in occupied Palestine in the context of losses. So the art is able to be a cause that has a positive or negative influence, which may play a basic rule such as political, economics, or armed struggle. Here comes clear the function for subjective critics to cater for the need of receiver for goodness and explanation of artistic works so that art can play positive and effective role and becomes a source for effective thoughts. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I'm trying to explain about all the readers. Don't give the art's work one judgment, because that's some artworks positive for the Palestinian cause, some negative. We needed to support who is the positive and supporting the Palestinian cause. Thank you so much for allowing to me in present this.
Sit down.
This I want to mention this is the first project in the conference for me. Inshallah.
MashaAllah. Sit down, brother. Sit down. Never
الله
mind.
بلا بوخر والمايك كمان.
Yeah, if there's any question or comment. Yeah, Bahar.
Idea of artwork has always been coming up. Can you go to one of the slides where you show the seats?
Which one?
Just go back.
Okay.
كرسيين قدام الجدار. Yes, this one. Go back. The other one.
The other one.
Yes.
This.
So the idea of artwork on the Israeli wall came with the Israeli wall, and it created a huge debate whether it's making the Israeli wall look attractive or look disgusting. But the one thing that you always find missing from that debate is the actual functionality of the Israeli wall that needs to be removed. This picture is like 4 meters to this side from where the Banksy Hotel is, you know? And the entire discussion that is centered around Banksy has shifted the discussion for those few yards. So instead of actually looking at the destructive impact of the Israeli wall that separates the town of Bethlehem from the town of Jerusalem in the north, which were were connected for about 4,000 years, we just go and debate this issue. The second thing that it's a beautiful distraction that serves the maintenance of the wall. It doesn't actually take us one step towards the removal of that evil structure. And we are allowed to have that kind of debate. The second point that I want to highlight is that our artwork is not on an Israeli wall. Palestinian artwork that celebrates Palestinian identity, celebrates Palestinian culture, and so on, is in our neighborhoods. You find it in almost on every mural around you in Gaza. You find it in the refugees camps. You find it in different places. And the point of it is to remind ourselves with that. You find artwork with calligraphy, right? Arabic calligraphy, you know, like statements to remind ourselves of the need of being proud of being Palestinians. There are sometimes threats to collaborators and so on. The faces you see are usually faces of martyrs, you know? So Palestinians that were murdered by the state of Israel, or in many cases prisoners, people who are no longer visible, but they are carved in our hearts. So the idea of like focusing on the artwork, like we need to be aware that we are being dragged into a distraction. I want to say one last thing about imprisonment. Near to this, about like 500-600 meters away from this photo, there is a mural of Ahd Tamimi. You know who Ahd Tamimi is? Like a 17 years old girl who was kidnapped. So there's a beautiful muralist from Napoli, Italy. His name is Jurid. And he has a distinct form of art. He started like drawing a mural of Fahd Tamimi. 6 days later, he was arrested and deported. So when you try to actually draw reminders of Palestinian idols, Palestinian resistance, you will be arrested and you will be removed. So what we're left with is just a few things that the state of Israel has tolerance to, because at the end of the day, that's their structure. So they decide what they want on it or not. It is their wall, and inshallah they can take it and build it around their homes.
When I talk about the, I remember the Banksy asked him about the artworks related to the Banksy. He talk about in safety area. When I made the artworks on the separation, I have safety space, safety area. I don't take any pressure from the Zionist occupation. I'm stay here. He talk, not me, about. احنا we are still under the occupation, but we inshallah used all the powerful to. Hmm.
Personal matter, the brand, the identity remains known. But look at it as a brand rather than as a person. You can trace him back to Bristol. He has this kind of white man's black shock about the reality, and they express their shock in their, let's say, simplified and sometimes very, very, very offensive way to us Palestinians. Something.
Okay. Last comment from anyone? Because somebody is drawing walls on my stomach. Pictures of my stomach walls. Okay. Thank you very much for the comment. Lunch and come back according to the new schedule at 2 p.m. Okay.